Welcome to Mediumship Moments with psychic medium Kym Durham. Join her as she shares her personal journey with mediumship, connects with your loved ones, and discusses topics dealing with spirituality.
Everybody, welcome to Mediumship Moments. I'm your host, Kym Durham, and my co-host is...
Hi guys, it's Aubrey.
It's Aubrey, my daughter Aubrey. We are so excited today because we finally get to talk about a paranormal investigation that we've wanted to do for a long time, very long time. And we both had experiences there separate from us going together as a team recently. And Aubrey had spoke about your experience.
Yes, when I was younger, 6th grade, never forget. Saw a full body apparition out on the battlefield.
Okay.
And I haven't been back since.
Okay. So are those two linked or no? Just circumstance?
I don't know. Circumstance.
Yeah. Aubrey had told me the story when she got off the bus and asked the teacher where the reenactor was. And the teacher was like,
there was no reenactor.
Okay.
Like down the road. And
they're just like, yeah. So, and my experience was Devil's Den with the drummer boy. So we head off on a Friday.
Packed a bag.
We did throw some shit in the back and go because you know how we roll, and headed down to Gettysburg, and it was great. The mom inside of me packed snacks and beverages and breakfast. Yeah, it was interesting because I had read that there was going to be a marathon, and I know that there's plenty of great restaurants, but when you have an influx of 50,000 people coming, the choices could be a little few and far between. Yeah. So here we go with our snack bags and off we head.
You drove first?
Yeah. And it was a lovely drive. It's relaxing to go there. So we're pulling in. Mm-hmm. Now what was interesting is we didn't go to the Airbnb left because we had a tour first at 2:00.
Yeah, because check-in wasn't until later.
Yeah.
We wanted to get as much time as possible. So we booked the Farnsworth house tour.
Yeah, we did.
We had lunch there first.
We did. Brooke, shout out to your Brooke server. She was so nice. So nice. Everybody was so nice.
It was freaking me out a little bit. Coming from South Jersey.
We're going to take, a little jaded from New Jersey.
I was like, what's your ulterior motive?
She was such a great server.
So nice.
Gave her great ideas. I have celiac, so my issues of eating. She rest assured. She went back to the kitchen. Lovely. Great meal. Yeah. Great to fuel up before we headed on.
And then we walked 5 feet to the right and we were on our tour. Reasons why we chose Farnsworth was it has been known to have a lot of paranormal activity.
Yes.
And we really wanted to get in on the history.
Yes. Yeah. But it worked out great because we jam-packed this weekend with so much.
Yeah.
That it made sense to hit it early.
Yeah.
And get a tour underway. So the Farnsworth, there are several rooms within the Farnsworth and you could stay.
Yeah.
It was already booked and truly the medium inside of me, girl likes to,
I like to sleep over at places like that.
She's more the sleepover, get touched kind of girl. I am the leave me alone, I need to rest kind of girl. So we chose an Airbnb next time.
Far away.
No, it was right on we'll get a story about that. So we go into the Farnsworth and it starts out front. And this delightful woman.
Oh my God, she was all of 5'3" on a good day.
With heels.
Heels.
Well, to me, it was she was 4'11". She itty bitty.
Okay.
Cheryl. Shout out to Cheryl. You were lovely. At the Farnsworth doing the tour. She's out front. She's telling us about the house, about how it was involved in the battles.
Yes.
And where, and the different paranormal experiences they've had. Such as,
specifically in the Eisenhower room.
Yes.
A spirit named Sarah has been known to be seen, sit on your bed, touch your foot.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. You could hear the boots of Union soldiers going up and down the hallway. Someone experienced, and I forget which room, that the bed went down,
sunk a little bit.
Yeah. And then they heard boots being placed on the floor. Yeah. See that? That's fabulous.
That sounds fun to me.
Okay. I know. So the next time, I'll tell you what, the next time we go, Bree,
put me in a room.
We're staying over. So so we head in, to the house And it broke it up between upstairs and downstairs.
Yes. We went from the very bottom
Yes,
all
we
the way
did.
up to the tippy top.
We started at the cellar.
In the cellar. And there in the cellar is where the family actually started to live down there during the battle, because the Farnsworth house was turned into a field hospital. Now, 8 people in a cellar, a little tight, a little crammed.
That's probably 600 square feet.
If that. Yeah. And unfortunately, during their stay down there, they said, as it was an active field hospital, where
a portion became a morgue.
Yes, it became a morgue, and also during amputations, unfortunately, blood would leak from the ceiling. And Cheryl loved sharing
She
that
was very graphic. And the former operating room nurse inside of me appreciated her sense of
she loved sharing that information.
She did. She was all about the gore. So, we're down there. She's telling us what went on. Now, ghost hunters had done an extensive, and there was one room that was locked off that was said to have a negative entity.
Yes.
Did you sense anything down there? Or what did you sense?
I sensed, being a cellar, it's already dark and dead.
What's the difference between a cellar and a basement? I learned that. Cellars have no windows. There you go. Tidbit of information. Yeah.
Jeopardy here.
Love that Cheryl shared that. Go ahead.
No. It was definitely heavy. It was a heavy sense. The lighting was kind of spooky already, so it kind of set the vibe.
They had an actual casket from 1863. You know what I'm saying?
Set the mood.
It was. It was.
That was happening, and then I used the Ovilus.
Tell me about that.
Ovilus was the ringleader for our investigation that weekend. So the Ovilus, has a whole alphabet and words, and it is said that spirits can communicate through the channels there. Some words were popping up: death, go away, the usual.
Now that really was a great instrument to use down there, because it's handheld.
Yeah.
It has 5,000 word library that spirit can work through.
And also I can turn the volume down.
Yeah.
So it doesn't say it out loud. So if we're doing a tour, it's a little bit more respectful.
Yes.
Not, like a spirit box isn't going through the AM, FM frequencies.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit quieter.
Yes, exactly. It's not obtrusive.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt the heaviness as well. I was wearing a mask because, again, me and my allergies and mold.
It was damp, and
there was water. It was a little moist. But we were down there, and she was telling stories about everything that people had experienced.
Yeah.
So then we headed up. We went upstairs to the attic.
We went right to the opposite end of the house.
And it's really interesting because, the house is old.
Yeah.
It was built in the there's been iterations of it.
Yes.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, the 1840s, the house was originally built, and it was just 2 rooms.
Yes.
And then they built on another kitchen, and it goes on for quite a bit. It's big. As size-wise, it reminds me of the Whaley House out in San Diego, in the sense of it. It was less brick and mortar, but original home, and then had many iterations. So we head up to the attic. Now imagine 10 people, and I'm going up the steps, and the steps were...
Yeah, they were not.
And so you're going up, and there's a narrow hallway, and people are in their rooms.
Yeah, imagine staying there, and
here comes the next door.
You just hear Cheryl, somebody died. And that one, yes, to you.
So she's pointing out all the paranormal activities that had happened. And in fact, there was a mother-son team who was on the tour.
Yeah.
Who actually had...
She took a picture.
We were up in the attic. I'm getting ahead of the story.
Yeah,
we were up in the attic. There's like 10 of us. I got to tell you, I was more worried about falling through the attic. The floors were a little soft.
Yeah.
And I got pushed all the way, not pushed, but where led into was right by the ceiling fan. I could tell you nothing about what Cheryl said.
No, I don't know.
Sure. What I can tell you is that we had the Ovilus. We had an EMF reader.
Yeah.
Again, trying not to be in people's faces. But the Farnsworth Hotel, because of its direct location, it was taken over by a Confederate sharpshooter. And they had that section off. But you could see the notch in the brickwork where he leaned his gun. And it's believed that Jenny Wade was shot and killed from that location. So as we were sitting there, there's a mom behind us, and she was great. And the EMF went off, and she took a picture. And what did it look like?
It looked like a shadow figure just sitting there,
It looked like a Union soldier, which threw me off because I thought it was Confederate.
And I thought it was me.
Yeah.
So we were sitting. It's a very awkward way we were sitting.
Because we're on benches, but we had to look this way.
Yeah. But when I realized the angle which she took it on, nobody was sitting, like you weren't, we were very close, but nobody was sitting where the light could have bounced off. So kind of strange.
It was. And just a side note, the Confederate, because it was the Confederate Army didn't have one type of uniform. They wore whatever they could find. Bit of ragtag type of uniforms. So it was a darker uniform, which some Confederate officers were known to wear. Could have been confused as a Union, is what I'm saying. So it was kind of wild. The EMF went off. She captures a picture.
Strong.
I loved it. Then we walked downstairs through the parlor.
Yeah.
And she talked about
Beautiful.
Oh my God. A lot of original furniture there.
I wanted everything in there.
She's like, oh, I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, she's very
like
sold.
Tiffany.
Oh, it was beautiful. And the different Eisenhower had stayed there. Other people that were
prominent
political figures had stayed in the hotel. So it was
really Lincoln. They talked about him like maybe stopping by.
Yes. Yeah. For a beverage.
Yes.
For a beverage. Which was really cool because when we were having lunch, we had the EMF with us. And it's really cool because they have all this memorabilia of Gettysburg in the Civil War. And sure enough, the EMF was going off again.
And we talk about trigger objects, man.
That room is filled with.
At that whole entire town.
Yes, that's true. So a trigger object you would bring with you when we do different investigations.
It's good to have to help heighten the activity, something that the spirit can relate to during that time period that seems familiar with. That's why we do that.
Our time period.
So when you're already in a location that is, everything's a
everything's a trigger object.
The activity is never ending.
So that was the Farnsworth was a great way to start off our trip.
Yeah, got you in the mood.
Yeah, it did. It did. It wasn't too over the top. So then we headed back. We checked in. Now this is lovely.
You're driving.
Okay, so it's a hop and a skip. Really, we stayed right in town, but a little, like maybe 5 blocks from where Farnsworth was.
We were right near Culp's Hill.
Yes. So we're driving, and Aubrey was, you were the navigator,
co-pilot, and we were driving past the middle school.
Yes. Yeah.
Like directly in front of the middle school. And you were driving, and all of a sudden,
I'm driving, and then I felt, my head go like this. I felt I got shot in the left side of not quite my temple, more above here, and then it exited here.
And you turned to me and you said, "Did you hear that?" And I went, "No." And you're like, "I got shot." It wasn't like, I think I got shot.
Yeah.
It was like, I felt like
I could feel my head.
I saw her in my peripheral. I saw your head jump back, and I was like, "Uh-oh, what was there? A fly in the phone or something?" Like, was your reaction? And I was like, "What's happening?" And I could see the Airbnb. I mean, we are like, holding up, and you just went like this. And I said, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "No, I felt like I just got shot in the head."
Like, yeah. And Aubrey's like, you're starting now. We haven't even checked
it.
It
done yet.
And ironically, I had tried, because we do investigations. Once the historian, we both have full-time jobs, and it's tough to, but we like to talk a little bit about the history. We're obviously there for the paranormal investigation.
Yeah.
Ironically, when and shout out to Gettysburg Paranormal. They were fantastic to give me some ideas of where to go.
Yeah.
And they were so kind to allow Paranormal PSI to join them on their Facebook group. And so one of the areas that they had talked about, unbeknownst to me, was exactly that spot because there's a road that they built that you used to be able to drive to the park to.
Correct.
And but they built the school there, and they didn't want people because really, I mean, like the parks here, there's a road, a driveway, if you want to call it, a common. We call it an alley.
Yeah.
And then houses, and but we're respectful. We're not going to go on people's property and stuff like that.
We found it.
But we were just driving, and because of the Waze was leading us that way, and it was ironic because prior to us getting there, they had talked about a high level of activity right where we were driving. I didn't, when I looked at the map, I went, well, that's the middle
We're
school.
just trying to go to the Airbnb.
We're just trying to get to the Airbnb. So we check in at the Cricket House. It's a lovely carriage house. Thank you to the owners of that. It was lovely to stay there.
Cute.
It was cute. It was perfect for the two of us.
Yeah.
Unloaded all the snacks and food and stuff. And then Friday night, it was cool because there's a restaurant.
Yeah.
I walked to the Chinese. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I brought some salmon that we had just picked up at
She brought all the snacks.
yeah, and we got some steamed veggies, some rice, some soup, and it was just great. Put our feet up, chill, because Friday night,
Because we had to go somewhere else.
we had another tour.
We weren't done yet.
No, so talk about this is this was
Talk about starting off strong on a Friday night. So we went.
so was our tour guide.
Monica.
So she was lovely.
She was funny. She was very animated.
I'm
Really-
thinking of a previous theater child.
yes,
Yes.
all the way. Those
Yeah.
bigger kids.
Yeah.
And she was great. We went on a dual tour, which is we went to 2 locations. It was a later night tour.
It was.
So our first stop was the orphanage, and then after that, the Jen Wade house.
Yep.
And talk about starting off strong at the orphanage. We go there, and we have a decent sized group. It was
Maybe 10.
maybe 10.
It was, and as we're walking up, Monica's talking about this place is heavy. This place is heavy.
Yeah.
Like this is out of the 2 places,
Mhm.
they were diversely different in energy.
Yes. And it was cute because we weren't the only people who brought our own equipment. However, we weren't allowed to record. So we had to resort to Ovilus and using other equipment to be respectful and
Sure.
but we did take pictures. We were allowed to take pictures. No, it's not done. But yeah,
I might have hit the record button.
I don't know.
Mistake. It was really dark.
By accident.
It was. Should we start upstairs?
So we start upstairs in the orphanage. Now the orphanage originally was built in the oh my goodness, it's been there for a very long time.
It was converted into it.
Yeah.
So and from what my notes read, it was so much going on. Is that there was it was built for the children who had lost parents during the Civil War. A lot of women became widows, and women did not have many choices for earning an income.
Correct.
Okay, they weren't allowed to own property, and they found themselves in just difficult ways. So some of the children needed to be taken care of, and really, it was so. This woman, I believe her name was Rose, was actually was actually persecuted. Yeah, she brought up on charges because she would beat the children, shackle the children, starve the children. There's one attributed death to that house where the body went missing, and then it was found of a child, a 13-year-old girl. It was really, and it's interesting when she brought up on charges, found guilty, paid $20 fine, and was allowed to go back and open it.
Yeah,
up
she
again.
left for a little bit and then came back.
So this place has heavy energy. So we go in, and Monica was asking, this is what you could experience, and she said, "Is anybody sensitive here?"
And this one volunteered. Yeah, she volunteered.
I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, good. We're going to put you in the corner."
We're gonna put you in the whisper corner.
I was like, "You can't put me in the
You like
corner."
put a dunce cap on you. It's just we're gonna put you in the whisper corner where apparently people get whispered in the ear too.
For the children.
Yeah, the children. And you're like, okay.
So great. So I'm sitting in the corner. I did feel my hair being played with back there.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that you experienced upstairs?
So I didn't really, I got a little chill. There was
Okay.
definitely like a little chill. I felt not necessarily a touch, but like the temperature.
The energy dropping. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
whenever the energy revs up, the temperature drops.
Yeah.
Like it converts.
And while our tour guide was explaining certain things that were happening is when you could feel the shift of the energy in the room, talking about it. And my experiences happened downstairs naturally in the basement or the cellar, excuse me.
I have to say it was one of the most jaw-dropping experiences I've ever had in paranormal.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I've been doing this since I was 15, so that's been a couple of years. So we take our equipment. Now, what do we bring with?
Okay, so we brought.
Because I had a backpack.
She brought everything.
Yeah,
Just to put it in.
Make it fit.
We brought the Ovilus digital recorders. You had the we had the spirit box.
So the spirit box revs through the AM,
And
FM.
you had the camera. You had the
I had the IR camera.
The IR camera, which was
and we had the floor.
And we had the floor. Yeah. We had a lot going on. So we brought that and we ran into some pretty cool people.
Shout out to
Tim
and Steve.
And Steve. Yeah.
Father, son, team. Again,
so nice.
When they had the same experience we did on this tour, that they were like, "You should come up to our place. You could stay there." They were so sweet.
Yeah.
I forget, it's 5 hours away. It was up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That was very, very.
I think I wrote it down.
Yeah. But they couldn't have been kinder. So we're in the basement and there's benches. And Monica's to my left.
Yeah.
Tim's about, I'm going to say 3:00 from me.
Yeah, that was the father.
And then Aubrey's right directly to my right on a bench behind me.
I was by myself. And now what our tour guide was doing was breaking up our group to go into
the dungeon.
And so not everybody could fit in it. So she'd separate us. And
that's how we got to get up close and personal with Tim and Steve.
Yeah. That's how we got to be. Now, it's funny because Steve was actually in a creepy chair in the corner.
Yeah, he was.
So he couldn't see what was happening. But the dad was sitting there.
Yes.
And it's just him, you, myself, and I think 2 other people that were sitting across.
Okay.
And I put the cat ball down on the bench. Now I'm sitting by myself. Nobody's there with me. And there is a spirit named Sarah there who has a young girl that has been known to make her presence known.
And play with toys.
Play with toys specifically. So I was like, all right, let's try it. So I put the cat ball down. And I was like,
so what is a cat ball, just for the listeners?
We've said it before, but it's just a little tiny toy. You can get a pet.
You depress a button on top of it and it starts to blink.
Yeah.
And then it stops blinking
after a few seconds. So if it continues to light up, that means that it's been active.
Somebody's pushing.
Motion.
Yeah.
There's motion involved. So I sat it right in front of me. And I was like, hi, is there anybody here who'd like to come speak with us? Sarah, if you're here, go ahead and
play with the toy.
And 5 seconds later. 5 seconds. And I'm sitting there and I just see this ball roll down to the edge of the bench.
I'm talking a good 4 feet.
Yeah, the bench was huge. It wasn't like it was bigger. It was bigger than this couch.
Like an 8-foot bench.
Yeah.
It rolled from Aubrey's arm reach. So I'm going to say that's 3 feet.
Yeah.
It rolled to the end of the bench.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And rolled all the way back.
I'm doing this.
And rolled all the way back and then dead stop.
In the middle.
And then
this goes straight.
He went,
oh,
you see shit. He went, oh my God.
Do you see this? Is this happening? Is this happening?
He couldn't believe it.
He was speechless.
I had other reactions and I'm pretty calm. Like,
she was not moving. I did not move.
I stood. I didn't breathe.
And Tim was like, she put it down. And then it moved by itself, and she didn't move, and it kept moving.
Like, process.
Yeah, it ran out loud. It was so great.
And his son was sitting in the corner, so he goes, "What happened?" Got a little FOMO there.
Yeah, he did.
And yeah, and then the group came back.
Yeah, because Monica had taken them, and
Yeah.
and Tip was explaining what happened,
Yeah.
and she was like, "I'm so glad you brought the cat balls. I'd forgotten mine."
She forgot her, so
Yeah.
we became in charge of using the cat balls
Yes.
for the rest of the remainder of the tour. That was a big one, and she did send it off a couple other times when we talked to her. I talked to her, she'd answer me.
Blown away.
Yeah, that was
Blown away. Because, I've held on to these cat balls, and again, they're little things. We have a couple when when they stop working, you can't recharge them.
oh, it's
They're just gone. You buy more, and it's great. Like I said, that they're easy to carry. That we throw in
Yeah.
for kids. People use the Boo Bear,
the
light up bear. It's called a Boo Bear, and have used other toys, but the cat ball easy to carry.
Yeah.
And great. We had success with it on the USS New Jersey.
Yeah.
But I have never, ever seen
Yeah.
a cat ball go 6 feet, 5
And then
feet
come back,
back,
and
and then go in the middle.
and then dead stop.
And they go, and I was just like, still.
I didn't learn that in science class.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Blown away.
It was creepy. I mean, you're in a cellar,
With children.
and there's, like 4 feet from where I was sitting is where a child was shackled. Like and it's kind of, you get that realization that you believe that you're speaking to a child's
Yes.
spirit. That comes with some heavy emotion.
Yeah.
And you also have to realize that they're children at the end of the day, that they have children needs, and that, a simple little toy like that kind of,
If it brought him a little joy, we're all for it.
yeah.
Did you feel anything in the dungeon? Now, I went in, I mean,
thing
it is,
talk about
it is
think skinny.
thick, skinny, 50 square feet. It's tiny. And they actually upstairs
50 square feet is 1.794 times 10
Siri, you can stop.
per square miles.
Hey, Siri, stop. That's interesting. That scared the bejeebus out of me right now. But they have the floorboard cut out so you can look from above down below. And on Paranormal PSI, we have pictures of that you could see. And we're going through a lot of the video. We took a lot of pictures on this trip. So we're going to put it up on the YouTube channel, Kym Dorham, Psychic Medium, and on Paranormal PSI, which is the Instagram channel.
Yeah.
So we go into this little tiny dungeon and sat there, and
Heavy.
I can't, as a child, how frightening it was.
Yeah.
How absolutely frightening to be put in that place. And so I did not stay long. I did not like it back there.
No, my chest felt heavy. And that's typically when I start to feel my chest get a little heavier feeling. That's
Right.
that's indicative for me that something is there.
Okay.
I just sad. You feel heavy. I remember us walking out of the building, and I just felt like I had to just like wring it out.
Yeah.
Just kind of shake it out.
Now, you bring up a good point, and before we do any investigation, we say a prayer to wrap us in the white light of protection. We have guides, and there's only one person that I was ever afraid of here on the physical plane, and on the spiritual plane, that'd be Joan. Yes, that's my mom, Joan, and my mom. So we ask for her to wrap us in the white light of protection. And remember, fear is energy that I will not give them. I will not give them that energy to build from. So, but when we got out, it was like, we were so happy to be out of that place. And I have to say, I'm glad we got the heaviness first.
Yes.
Because the next place we went to, the Jenny Wade house.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about the Jenny Wade house.
I had more of an experience at the Jenny Wade house than I thought I would have an experience with the Jenny.
I mean, Monica loved us because shit kept happening around us. So Jenny Wade who was Jenny Wade?
Jenny Wade was a civilian. She grew up in Gettysburg.
Okay.
She did not live at the Jenny Wade house. There's three houses acquainted with her.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the reason why she's at that house was because she thought that her other house was going to be more in with the
It was strategically up high.
Yes.
And the battle line, the front line was within a half a mile.
Right.
So she left her actual home and went to her sister George's house for safety and unfortunately, she's the only civilian to have casualty of the Gettysburg war. So it's a house that's 2 and 2, 2 rooms downstairs, 2 rooms upstairs, and we
Low ceilings.
yes.
Very quaint.
Yeah. And remember, they made the low ceilings because they would warm the house by a fireplace. So, heat rises, you keep it lower so the house stays warmer. Plus, they were not as tall as some of us.
Yeah. And you go out to the front of it and you just see bullet holes everywhere.
It's the first thing you see.
In the brick, in the doors. I mean, they've kept it very
authentic.
The continuity of it all. And then you go inside and you see the giant gunshot hole that unfortunately
in the kitchen door.
That
she was she at the sink?
She was making bread.
Yeah, for the Union troops. And once she was shot, she was taken to her.
Her sister was pregnant too.
Yes, right.
She had to lay down. She went upstairs and lay down because she wasn't feeling well.
Yeah,
and that's when
Jenny got shot and succumbed to her injuries like 12 hours later, which so difficult.
So we start walking. Our tour guide's talking about all the history behind it.
That we're in the house.
We're in the house, and we go into the room to the right.
Taller, I would call it.
Yeah, and I got such a wave of sulfur, like just hit me. Like
it was so thick. Now, Tim
and we weren't the only ones who smelled it.
Who were standing to our right. We best buddies out there. Shout out to you all if you're listening. Truly, you're wonderful people. DM us on Paranormal PSI. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
I want to shoot you a couple pictures. And so Aubrey's talking about the smell of sulfur.
And it was really interesting because a lot of people wouldn't say what they felt.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people aren't used to it. Like, people don't go on paranormal. Like, I forget sometimes, like, this is not everyday norm for people.
Yeah.
So when I would say something, I would get confirmation from
like 3 other people. Like, oh, you do too?
Feel that too? And I was like, yeah, this is like, and I kept turning behind me. So I was like, what is behind me? There was just a rocking chair. And our tour guide Monica goes, oh yeah, like this is the norm. Like, people just smell gunpowder, sulfur, and blood. It's very normal.
It was so thick I could taste it.
Yeah.
Not to be, but that's what it's.
And after I smelled the sulfur, immediately my entire back just started to itch.
She starts like,
and I'm fidgeting. I'm trying to be.
She had the backpack on.
I had the backpack on me, so nothing could touch me.
Right.
Make me react that way. I had the backpack on the whole time, but the whole time I'm just like, my whole back just feels like it is just like itchy, irritable. It's just irritating. And I looked at her. I looked at Mom, and I go,
she looked uncomfortable.
And I was just, and you're like, can I take the backpack? And I was like, no, because if I take the backpack off, I'm going to want to I literally felt like a bear on a tree. Like, all I wanted to do was just put my back up against a tree and just scratch. Very uncomfortable. It was really hard for me to concentrate the rest of the tour.
Yeah.
But when we went upstairs, it kind of dissipated a little bit. But when we went back downstairs, it started itching again. It itched all the way back to our Airbnb. I had to take a shower. And when we looked on my back, we did see some scratches. Now, where I was, I couldn't really scratch. So I just kind of did this to try to. So I don't know if the spirit scratched me, but I definitely felt something. And it wasn't until afterwards you had done a little bit of research.
Call it WebMD.
Yeah. And here, gunpowder allergic reactions, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And that's a common allergic reaction to gunpowder.
And that tells you how heavy it was.
I mean, I've never
for her to have that kind of reaction. Because as soon as we smelled it, and again, my smell, it's, allergies and everything. For me to taste it, for Tim and Steve, that was so heavy, that was pretty remarkable. It was remarkable because Jenny ended up leaving her house and being in the thick of the battle, which she thought that she was going to safety.
Yeah. Very sad.
She was 20 years of age. Yeah. And was quite ahead of her time, that she wanted to care for these people, very empathic type of person.
She also grew up with nothing, and
Yeah.
she was a fighter through and through towards the end. So it's very sad that, she tried to seek shelter
Yeah.
here.
And she's with her sister who's pregnant.
She thinks
And-
she's safe.
Yeah.
And then an unfortunate accident.
So that's what we take away from that house, that you walk into this home and the furnishings are the same, the bullet holes are the same.
They have a plank of wood with
Yeah.
her blood
Yes. Yeah.
still on it. I mean, they keep it very preserved in Gettysburg. They
Yes.
have everything
In
preserved.
fact, I was reading since 2010, they're removing things from the battlefield that obscured the sightline, like bathrooms that they put up that were not original fixtures,
Yeah.
that they're going back to how it was. We went through TripAdvisor to book this. So just really cool experiences.
We started heavy.
With that, this is part one, shall we say, of our Gettysburg experience, because there was so much. So thank you for listening to Mediumship Moments.
What's your mediumship moment from part one?
By far the
I stayed in tune with my senses on day one. I mean,
being a sensitive,
yeah,
smelling things, having my hair pulled, seeing something physically move. Because we are so sensitive, you're third generation, that we emit. And when I say emit, every human being, you're a ball of energy, right? And I talk about this, and other physicists have talked about it as well as Albert Einstein. Energy can't be destroyed, so only changed in its form. So all of our energy, all of our organs are frequencies of energy. And, people who are sensitive, we're at a different frequency. And it's believed those on the other side see us, and let's say our light bulb's a little brighter. And they're like, oh, she can see near.
Yes.
And they're drawn to us. And so walking through and having that residual energy where I felt like I was shot in the head. And I was like, not expecting that. Wild.
So I took away from that definitely using all of our senses on day one.
Yeah. And listen for part 2 of our Gettysburg investigation. But as always, thanks for listening, and keep chatting with your angels, because they can hear you.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time for another episode of Mediumship Moments. If you enjoyed this episode of Kym's podcast, check her out on Instagram and TikTok at Kym Durham Medium.